What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Weekly Anabolic. This is episode 19. We got some questions for this week we're going to get through, and it's going to be pretty dope. So stick around, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, give us a like, and we're going to get going. Brandon, what's up, man?
How we doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. How's your week been?
It's been good, man. It was even better because we came up to Corning. We got to see each other. That was really dope, dude.
Yeah, so for everybody that's just watching this and doesn't actually know, Brandon and I, Brandon came up to Corning and hung out with me for the day. Got to show him around the area, show the gyms, and hopefully, I'm speaking it into existence. He's gonna move up here. We're gonna be like next door neighbors. and, and it'll be sick. And then we're gonna get a massive. He's gonna be 250, and sweet.
Yep. Pretty much.
But yeah, that was really cool. That was an awesome part of the weekend.
Yeah, it was really dope.
Yeah.
The thing I liked about Corning the most was just kind of like how cute the town kind of was, and you just get like sucked into your own little bubble, and you don't really need anything outside of that. It's kind of nice. You got everything you need, and
yeah,
it seemed really cozy.
It's all close.
Yeah. And affordable too.
It's a good spot. So anybody that's close to Corning, and if you didn't know, that's where I live, Corning, New York. If you're close, hit me up, and I don't know, maybe we can get a session or something.
Brady will get you a cheap apartment, and then we'll get you massive.
Yeah, and then I'll throw 100 pounds on your frame.
Exactly. We'll fill the apartment complex with just bodybuilders.
That'd
be pretty dope.
That'd be like Kuwait.
Yeah, dude.
That's what happens down there.
The Mecca in Corning.
Get invited to Corning.
Yeah, dude. How you been, Brady?
It never happened. I've been good, man. Actually, yeah, I've been good. I guess I'll start chatting about training a little bit. Just today, I think it was time to pull back on legs a bit. I just came off a deload, and I've been having knee problems for a little while now. Just some knee pain, my patellar tendon, and sometimes it causes some pain up through my quad. But today I didn't even train legs, and it flared up super bad. Both knees, both quads, and I decided it was probably time to pull back on some legs and give them some more recovery, and maybe put my efforts somewhere else. So legs is a little bit toned down, almost like legs is going to be deloaded for a little while. Things will kind of be back off set weights, at least on my squat patterns, right? Because my knees are the real issue. And the key to making it out of this off season is going to be keeping me healthy. So my squat patterns are kind of what's causing me issues. And so RDLs are still going to be heavy. Yeet. But my squat patterns, my front squat has actually been completely taken out.
And replaced?
No. So most people don't actually know this. Just a look into what my training was on. I've got 2 different leg days, right? Legs A, I have 2 different squat patterns in it on top of an RDL, and on legs B, I have 3 different squat patterns in it. And they're all loaded heavy to shit. All right. So we kind of pulled back. We pulled at least 1 squat pattern out, and then adjusted the other ones so that they were a little bit nicer on my joints. So everything there is kind of getting pulled back for a little while. We're working all my squat patterns at downset weights. So nothing in that 6 to 8 range, just to kind of give myself a little bit of a break and some recovery time. But kind of seeing the upside on that, I think it's going to give me the ability to focus on push
Yes.
and actually, give me the extra recovery that I need to really kind of push that. Cause legs has been my primary goal for development. Well, really since forever. Right. And so it's probably time that I give push the attention and love and focus that it deserves. And kind of catch all that stuff up. Cause my legs they've come far enough for right now. I can pull them back a little bit and everything will be okay. And honestly, at this point, they might actually benefit from just having that extra recovery, just because they're so messed up all the time.
Yeah, dude, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think pulling back is going to be good for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah.
And I can focus on push, and so that'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been making some good strides since deload with how push is going, and just gonna keep trying to make that the focus for a little while, and see what I can do with that.
Yep.
So we'll see how all that goes. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with my training. I passed 500 pounds on my RDL.
Let's go.
That's cool. So yeah, Gloff told me to stop being a bitch, just pass the 5 plate mark and go and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd had a couple weeks of just making stupid mistakes, and we kind of just attributed it to I was giving that plate barrier too much focus. And so he's like, just move to 505 and just move on.
Yeah.
And I did. So I went up 10 pounds and got an extra rep. So
let's go, dude. Oh yeah, that's
so
awesome.
that was cool. That was a fun session. I definitely kind of stomped myself in that session a little bit hard. So it kind of attributed to the leg fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
So is what it is, though. I'm glad I did it. I'm going to keep smashing RDLs because they've worked. They're fine for me. They don't really cause me any issues. So keep crushing those. Incline bench is going really well. I just moved to 245.
Yeah.
So
Good shit.
yeah, hoping. I think about it. I'm like, it's not. I guess it's not so far off from like approaching 300 pounds, right? I'm kind of halfway there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So that feels good. And I think kind of having that attitude and thought about it, it's going to help me just progress further. Nick and I have talked about some things that are going to really help move that forward. We took a look at my pressing movements kind of a little bit more in depth and took a look at them. And we figured out why I just kind of like die randomly in the set. And kind of what's happening is I'm not keeping my shoulders depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I go to press and they come up towards my ears. And that's adding a ton of extra fatigue because I have to reposition myself every single rep.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of make depression the forethought for my next sets of presses and see if that helps.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, so that'd be pretty cool. And if that makes all the difference and I can just kind of move through reps again, we'll be making strides pretty quick.
Nice.
Right? Because a lot of times it made a lot of sense once we started talking about it, because most of the time when I fail in my presses, it never feels like actual muscular failure. So I do think it's just random fatigue and
mechanics.
Mechanics that are just thrown off the whole set. And so if that is what it is, I think a lot of progress will be coming pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think
that'll be cool. Looking forward to all that. I just finished up the leg day training video. So I filmed that entire leg day with the 505 RDL. And that'll be up on the YouTube channel at some point. Not sure when. Probably in the next week or so. And yeah, so check that out, because by the time you're listening to this, it should be out soon. So keep an eye on the channel for that. Best way to do that is to be subscribed. Cough, cough, cough. Yeah, so that'll be cool. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on, man. I kind of both just summed up my best and worst things.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you, man. What was your best and worst things this week?
In
life.
Let's see. I guess though, not the worst thing in the world. I didn't really get too many training sessions in this past week. I literally got 2 in, and so I think I trained on Tuesday and then on Wednesday, and then off day. And then I think Monday, Tuesday, off day. And then I think it was on like Thursday or something like that. Yeah, whatever. Thursday was my lower B day, and I just got wrapped up in conversation. So I really didn't get too much done. I got there like an hour and a half early because I had something planned after, and I just got wrapped up in conversations, and I didn't get through my lift. But, I was up a rep on the RDL, so I couldn't complain on my top set and my back set. So, it was all right. Whatever happens. I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
The best thing was probably me just being up a rep on my top set and my back offset, and also my body weight too. So like the meals have really been clicking. If there was something positive out of this week, it was definitely my meals clicking. Seeing you guys. Oh yeah. So we weighed in. Weigh in check. 141 this morning. So before we left for Bing, we were like 138-ish, like high 138. And, we ate a good amount. We literally went to 2 different pizza shops when we were in Corning. So we definitely ate our fill. We got some Thai food, finished the night with some ice cream. So it was a lot of eating. And my body liked that. And there was a lot of sleeping. So I think everything kind of happens for a reason. And, I'll definitely be looking at things like in the best light instead of, not. So I'll take the mini deload. I'll take the extra calories. I'll take the body weight and the extra rep up.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and this week we're just gonna get at it like we always do.
That's right, man. What when you go into the gym, do you know you're gonna have one of those days where you just end up talking with people? Because I can always feel it, right? Like when I'm walking to the doors, I'm like, I already know I'm gonna be easily distracted today.
I didn't plan on it, honestly. I'm actually like really grateful that I actually even know this many people at my gym. Like I must have given out like 50 fist bumps, dude. It was awesome. But yeah, I generally speaking, I don't like go in there thinking I'm going to get wrapped up, but sometimes it happens, There's a couple dudes dealing with injuries, a couple guys that want to, they want a little bit of help with their form. And I'm not one to really say no, especially when it comes to this stuff, just because I love helping people and things like that. So, dude, outside of myself, Preston, dude, 60. So Preston, for those of you guys who don't know, Preston is one of my clients I've been working with for like 3 months now. He's now like, just a little quick backstory, real quick. He went through a pretty intense surgery and was pretty bedridden for a while, right? So then you fast forward like a year-ish, then we kind of meet, which was this January. We've been working together for a little bit now, but dude, he finally, like, he's leaving his apartment and he's going into town and he's like checking out the museums and he's like, dude, walking down and walking back. It's like pretty far for him, but like that was like a challenging brisk walk for him. But like, this would not have happened like 3 months ago. And he was just like so happy, man. Like his eyes were like lit up. He even said like he's got like a new life pretty much, which was super
Yeah.
awesome. So shout out to Preston for, that was like that was really cool for him.
Shout out to you for helping, man.
Doing what we do, man.
That's
Doing
what feels
we do.
good, man. That's why we do these things, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
when you actually help somebody that needed the help, it feels good, and they feel good, and
Dude.
for a moment it feels like all's right.
Yeah.
You know.
And knock on wood, he stays on this track. The cool, I actually forgot to mention, I didn't tell really anyone outside of Kelsey because I like called her immediately after, but he also was struggling with the neuropathy on his right side as well, dude. So he had some nerve pain and like numbness. That's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone, dude. Like what?
It's amazing.
Even I was like, what? Yeah. So yeah, man, taking it. I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
It's not a bad week.
Yeah. So shout out to Preston. Preston's killing it.
Nice, man. All right, dude. So I got a couple questions for us.
Just a couple?
At least a handful. First thing I actually kind of want to talk about is training around like traveling and holidays. So you aren't at home. What do you do? How do you approach it?
All right. Okay. So training around holidays and like special events, right? So so basically you'll already kind of have a plan. And in my opinion, you should, like, if you're in a prep and you're like prepping for a show, then you're gonna have to be much more strict.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of the conversation, we'll just pretend that there's really no prep, right? And we're just kind of cruising through a little maintenance or something of the sort. Or, you still have priorities. Just expect things to be like a little bit hectic. And to not really be able to make some crazy progress like while you're out. So if you're going to be out for like a week, maybe you can do a little bit of hunting around, look for a gym. Like, quite honestly, dude, when my athletes have like a week away or something like that, and if they've been training for a long time and it's kind of like that time, I'll just say, like, take it as a nice deload, but pay attention to your meals, obviously. We don't want you coming back like 20 pounds lighter or 20 pounds heavier. So, pay attention to the food and what's kind of going on. But like take the week as a deload. That's like kind of what I would say, like off the bat, if someone was training with me for a little bit. And I think I'll let you like kind of interject here and maybe we can go back and forth between it. And there's obviously way more things that I could say, but we'll go like back and forth between it.
Yeah. So what I personally like to do for myself, when I'm traveling, I love going to gyms. Like, I love wherever I am, trying to find the best gym in that area and then getting that experience there. So I always kind of just make it part of my traveling or vacations or any of that, right? Because that's part of what I like doing. Some people look for certain restaurants. I look for gyms. It's fun. Sometimes you find some cool equipment or you meet somebody. It's funny. Every time I go somewhere, I end up meeting someone from New York. Every time, dude. Every time. And they're just like, my life has never been better since I left New York.
Yo.
So yeah, for myself, and this is, I love training. I don't really want to take the time off anyway. So unless it's something that's being scheduled for then, I'm going to try and find a gym because I think it'll be a cool experience. Most gyms offer day passes, and that kind of thing. So it can be a fun way to explore and maybe meet some people or, I've essentially planned a trip around going to a gym before. Like, that was almost the basis for the trip. Was going there to train in that specific gym.
Yeah, I know a gym. Got you.
Yeah. And so that, that's my personal preference. But for someone who can't make that part of their traveling or, just in their plans, right? There's too much going on, or you're in Disney World. I don't know. Are there gyms in Disney World? Probably hotel gyms, maybe. Anyway.
Like Goofy, like jacked Goofy, or like
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse, just like no.
Mickey Mouse is in there slanging 400-pound bench.
Woohoo!
But yeah, so if it can't fit in your plans, probably take the time. Well, actually, I do want to say, if you're going on a month-long vacation, so it is time dependent. If it's 2 days, 3 days, just take it. It doesn't matter, in the grand scheme of things. If it's a week, maybe try and find a gym, just to kind of give you that little bit of normalcy. Sometimes traveling can be a lot for people, especially, if it's work related and they're sending you off somewhere. Finding a gym can be a good way to just kind of ground yourself. So, again, personal preference there. But if you're going for multiple weeks and you're serious about your gains, right? Probably you're going to have to find some place to train and find how it fits in your schedule, right? You don't just take a month off. Like,
Mhm.
that's what you hear, brand new people into the gym, teenagers in high school. Oh, well, I took last month off, so now I'm back, right?
Yeah, that's a very big
But
difference.
if you're actually serious about what you're doing, and if you're listening to this podcast, I can probably assume that you are. A month away is not going to do anything for you. If you're gone for a week and it's a decent time to take a deload and let yourself fully recover, as long as you can, keep your diet in check, then take it, might as well. But you can't do a month away,
Yeah.
that's just going to put you in a bad position to come back. And you don't want to do that.
Speaking from experience, right? I actually did that.
Yeah.
I went to Arizona, like 3 years ago at this point now, with my dad. We went to Tucson, and I was there. I wasn't planning on being there for that long. Like, dude, maybe like 3 weeks is what I really thought. Ended up being like a 2.5, like 3 month excursion. And I did try to train as best I could. But we were hopping between hotels, like shoddy hotels, didn't have a stove. We had a microwave, small microwave, and like a little mini fridge. And we didn't go to a grocery store the entire time. All we did was eat out.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we were hitting like 2 to maybe 3 meals at most, you know. That was rough. So like if you're going on and that was like a really weird circumstance where like that's really not going to happen, where you kind of get dragged along for a trip. Not even dragged. I had a great time, don't get me wrong. Like there will come a time where sometimes you just have to enjoy life, which is a little bit kind of like what we were talking about. Like if you're only going away for a week, it's okay to kind of enjoy the week. There is a time for you to unplug, and to enjoy the people that you're going to be with, to take in the sights, to go visit places. Brady and I are a little bit different. If you're listening to this, you're probably a little bit different as well. I'm not going to lie. The first thing I did was look for a gym, and I found a gym, but sometimes it's okay to just relax and be with friends and to kind of forget about things for a second, and enjoy reality. And then as soon as you're back in the saddle and you're killing it.
Yeah. And that's why most of what I said was just from my personal preference. Like I said, I like going places and training because that's what I do. That is, in a form, that's my unplugging.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's just, I find joy in that. And so I like to make it a part of my traveling.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
It's exciting for me.
Yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. I like watching myself just like wither away day by day by day. And my lifts also getting trashed.
Yeah.
It was super rough. I really only like probably went to the gym for maybe like 2 weeks total out of that entire time being over there, just because like we were between hotels and motels that had no gym and things like that. So, and we had one car and 3 dudes. It's like, I can't take the car and just like leave them stranded. So
Right.
there's really only so much you can do in certain circumstances. So the best thing I would say is that with the kind of person you are, you make the most out of your situation. So if you're someone who has a week and you really, really enjoy training and you can't get away, then find yourself a solid gym and, maybe exactly. Have some fun there. And if you have like access to a stove and, maybe a nice fridge and a grocery store down the road, what's going to stop you from prepping some meals and picking up some Tupperware and prepping for a couple days or something like that, or at least just keeping like, 1 or 2 meals that you'll really hit your macros on, that will at least keep you a little bit more on track. And then, maybe you go out to dinner and you don't have to be as anal about these things. You can kind of, you'll have those 2 meals that you've gotten in, and then you can hit that nice freebie or 2. Yeah.
Adjust your life to produce maximum happiness.
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
is what you should be doing.
Yeah, because if you're hounding yourself, if you're really, really hard on yourself for no goddamn reason too, like what is that gonna do for you except bring you back? You're gonna come back from vacation not having enjoyed your vacation, and you're gonna be miserable, and probably not want to train.
Yeah.
Yep.
So adjust those. I think of everything as a sliding scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adjust whatever it is on your sliding scale for maximum happiness in those times.
Yeah. Yep.
And cat. Hey, Epic.
Come here, Brady.
She just attacked me.
What the heck?
Yeah, and of course, the ultimate life goal is to be able to have your sliding scales for maximum happiness at all times. But you do the best you can. But if you're traveling, holiday, taking vacation, that's when you should do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. So my personal sliding scales involves training.
Yeah. Brady is like train. Yeah, like dude, same with me.
Yeah,
man.
my ultimate happiness is, at least currently, right? Because it all changes all the time. But basically allows me so that I can do whatever I want, so that I can move things around when I want to train, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I could be just a full-time bodybuilder, that would be awesome. If all I had to do was eat my meals and then train exactly when I wanted to train, and then eat my meals and hang out and just relax and fill that relaxing time with whatever sounds nice, then yeah, that's optimum for me.
Yeah.
But I've got bills to pay, and right now bodybuilding doesn't pay my bills, so I have to fill my time with other things, like a job.
Not yet.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we'll get into some other applicable stuff. Have you ever had shoulder pain from doing like machine flies?
No, I haven't really run into like, knock on wood, dude. Outside of my adductor, I carry like no pain in any joints.
Oh my God.
I know.
What the heck?
False. My elbow can get fucking on me.
When you do pulls?
No.
My elbows don't like me when I'm doing vertical pulls.
Ironically.
Yeah, they just get this one specifically just gets a lot of pressure build up in it. And so like going into the top of like a pull down, it'll like pop sometimes. Sometimes it hurts and then it'll eventually pop and I'll be fine. But yeah, it's not comfortable.
Yeah, I get some clicking or like rolling of a tendon on the inside of my elbow when I use my tricep, usually is when it happens. I guess I shouldn't say that. Like I've realized that if I don't train my triceps, like if I take a long break, like especially from quarantine is when I really noticed it, is that when I come out of quarantine or if I don't train my triceps, like I'm not actively doing anything for them like day in and day out, they click a lot. Like with any movement I do, whether it's overhead pressing, tricep extensions, like whatever. But as soon as I start training them and I build up a little bit of strength, that kind of goes away.
That's weird.
On my tricep movements. But then if I do something like a kettlebell overhead press, it'll click. So
why are you doing those?
The kettlebell overhead press?
Yeah.
That's prep movement.
The bottom under press?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you overhead pressing kettlebells?
With kettlebells.
Grab dumbbells or a bar.
Yeah. No, I don't like words.
Gotcha.
Like literally when I train my clients, I'm like, we're going to do this movement. Looks like this. All right. That's that.
That's that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's funny. But I'll speak from experience on the shoulder pain from machine flies then. At first, there's a couple different things that can kind of cause it. One, having your shoulders pinched back in a fly movement can sometimes aggravate right in here, just because naturally with your fly, you're going to want to, being in a neutral position is going to allow you to come to full squeeze at the chest without having to use or roll over your shoulder. So that's one part. Another part is where your hands are in relation to your shoulders. So sometimes you'll see people with their hands way below their shoulders, right? So they're kind of, if you're on audio, I'm sorry, I'm showing visuals again. But if your hands are down here, you can get some shoulder discomfort and probably some bicep discomfort. If you're way up top, what you're doing is you're setting your shoulder muscle here, kind of, I call it being on top, right? And then you're flying up here. And because if you're putting your shoulder muscle up top here, you're essentially using that as the prime mover. And so you want your hands to be pretty much even at full extension with your shoulder so that when you come in front, your chest is staying on top. You should have a proud chest, but not necessarily retracted shoulders. So if you're having pain with machine flies, give some of that a try. Play around with your hand positioning. And then last thing, the way to set up having a proud chest is essentially to externally rotate at the shoulder and it'll pull your chest up. So yeah, give that a shot.
When it comes, I'll kind of add on to that. What I've also realized that when it comes to pain, there's usually two things. There's the way you're doing it. So the setup that Brady just kind of brought you guys through, hand position, the way you're setting your scaps and things like that. And then there's also function and like kind of and structure, kind of like the function of that structure as well. So like if you're someone who's like super carried over, their shoulders are super protracted or rolled forward, you're probably someone who actually experiences some shoulder pain. That is that will boil down to structure and function. Like if you are fucked in the shoulders and you change your hand position, you're still probably going to be messed up in your shoulders. Like, so that's something also to kind of think about as well. If you're experiencing pain, you should also look at kind of what you're working with, anatomically speaking. Like if the structure of your body is like set properly and how it should be. But yeah, Brady, like Brady said, you shouldn't really set your scaps in stone, because your humerus, your upper arm, and your scap, they need to move together. Just because you want to keep that rhythm. You don't necessarily want to fix any one, joint in one spot.
And I actually just thought of one more thing, which is a cue you can use on every movement ever, and it will probably help you. Squeeze your hands. Hold whatever you're holding on to. That's probably, I think if I can have a generic fix for most people's issues, I'd start there. People are having pressing issues, grip the bar. You're having shoulder pain doing any pressing movement or a lateral, grip whatever you're holding on to. Your deadlifts are feeling flimsy, try gripping the bar, right? A lot of times we passively hold on to things, right? We close our hands, but then we don't actually force a contraction. And when you do that, everything in through here is interconnected, right? Everything stems together and it starts here. Also, gripping whatever you're holding on to with a certain amount of force is also a good confidence boost.
Truth. It is.
So if you're struggling with any barbell movement, or actually dumbbell movements especially, hold on to whatever you're holding on to like you mean it, right? Like it's going to try and jump out of your hand, kind of thing. And it will probably clean up all of your paths, clean up any little aches, pains that are kind of going on in the movement that sometimes happen, but sometimes don't. Right? Hold on to shit. Like that's it. So that's kind of my generic fix to a lot of things. Just because from my own personal experience working with a handful of different people and myself, holding on and gripping cues generally seems to be a good start for most people, and it cleans up a lot, which then is a good way to reveal the other issues that are going on within a movement. But if you have a sloppy grip, all of your reps are going to be different.
The hand and the feet are very similar in those aspects, where there's a lot of feedback going on through your hands and through your feet. If you're, if you have a barbell in your hand, or if you've got a bar on your back and your feet are on the ground, there's a lot of feedback. And then there's a lot of feed forward information that also happens like from your brain to your foot or your hand, to do things. So like if you have a super lazy hand and you think about the muscles of your forearm, they connect from the elbow joint and they cross the wrist. So if you're really lazy through your hand, if you're really lazy through the wrist, you're going to be lazy at your elbow too. So it does a lot in terms of stabilizing things and making sure that everything's kind of feeding back properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're having troubles, give that a shot. Yeah. There you go. We just fixed half the global population of training.
Literally.
All right. Actually, though, since we're already talking about shoulders, let's talk about growing some shoulders, though. So there's somebody that asks, do you need to do a shoulder-specific pressing movement to develop your anterior delt? So that's your front delt for anybody who doesn't know. or is just normal chest pressing sufficient for stimulating that for hypertrophy? What's your thoughts?
So I don't want to steal your thunder because we kind of did talk about this very briefly.
We had a
But
brief conversation
yeah,
on this one.
my answer is very similar to yours. So I'll just chime in for the two of us here.
Go for it.
Yeah, you're gonna need a vertical pushing movement, whether it's a high incline overhead press, or that's pretty much the one that you're gonna need is just a high incline overhead press, because you're gonna be using the anterior delt a little bit on your pressing movements, but you're not gonna really summon or utilize those fibers nearly as much as if you had a barbell in your hand or a dumbbell in your hand and you were pressing in a vertical pattern. As you decline the bench from that incline more and more and more, you're going to be accessing more horizontal fibers that run along the chest. And then as you incline the bench, you're going to access fibers inside of the delt. And like, even you can even tell that like when you get into, and also we don't like pressing straight up and down. We usually will slightly incline ourselves, or a high incline to around like 75 degrees ish, just because it also will allow us to better hit those anterior delt fibers. We can easily access the ranges of motion when we're in that slight incline versus straight up and down. And the main reason why we don't go straight up and down, for a lot of reasons, outside of the one being external rotation, because people really don't externally rotate too well, and they can't get themselves into that 90-90 position. So going into that slight incline allows them to kind of open up the shoulder a little bit, and it allows the bar path to be much more upright. Because usually if you cock someone into that 90-90 degree, or if you sit them up like into that 90, they end up pressing like in front of their nose, you know what I mean? Like really far out there, as opposed to like straight up and down. So it's just a lot easier to press from a high incline.
Also, a lot of people don't even have access to the range of motion to press directly overhead.
Yeah.
Just from their lack of shoulder mobility.
Mm-hmm.
But to kind of answer this question from another side, if you are looking to build a full physique, right? If you are a bodybuilder, you're going to want to give each muscle its own attention. Because even if normal chest pressing does stimulate the anterior delt fibers, which it will, they accrue a certain amount of fatigue from just working and producing force. It's not nearly going to equal out to if you just did a pressing movement and an overhead movement. So really, if you're just looking to, if you just want to press and you're a power lifter, then you don't have to overhead press. It might help your bench press. But if you're a bodybuilder, which someone who's asking this question specifically probably is, then yeah, you're going to want to have two different exercises for what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. You definitely are going to want a vertical push and a horizontal push.
Yeah. Same, it's funny. A lot of different things can be broken into that thought, right? Because when we train back, we have vertical pulls, horizontal pulls.
Yes.
And then legs is different, but it holds something similar, right?
Yeah.
You have
different, but same.
You have squat patterns.
Yep.
And then you have hinge patterns, I suppose. But yeah, basically there's always two different angles. But that is hitting things from the two different angles is what builds the well-rounded physique.
Right? Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like in a two, like, especially if you come out of like, if you get pumped out of like the XI background or whatever, you think very 3D, you think in kind of flexion and extension, lateral flexion and extension and rotation. Those are like the three planes that you're like supposed to think in, like all the time. Which is like, yeah, it's true. It's a good starting foundation, but like, there are like every single degree in between 90 and 0, and then every single degree inside of those has a degree of external and internal rotation. So it's like all of a sudden this 2D model becomes like super 3D. But like, yeah, baseline, vertical pull, vertical push, horizontal pull, horizontal push, and then hip hinge and a squat.
Yep.
That's kind of it.
There you go. That's how you build an entire physique right there.
Yeah, like honestly, like
pretty much.
That's how like the programming's kind of always been,
We're in this culture of optimization and working the least to get the most.
Yeah.
And really just do the basics, everything gets so overcomplicated with, well, you have to set this bench at this specific angle and your legs need to be in this exact position so that you can recruit your rear delt the right way. And just don't overcomplicate it, right? Almost nobody is to the point where they have to be that specific with their training.
Yeah. And if they are, they're small.
Honestly, true.
Because I've been there.
Honestly, true. The big guys, none of the big guys got big by writing novels or reading novels, right? They got in, they nailed their basics, they got strong as fuck. They did what seemed hard. And they all got big because they put in the time.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They could be a lot smarter too in some aspects because they probably carried a shit ton of pain.
Absolutely. So education is important, but education doesn't get you anywhere without application.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. Knowledge is potential power. I tell this to all my clients. It's potential power. Knowledge isn't power. It's potential power. And it isn't until you go and do the thing with that knowledge that potential power turns into kinetic. And that's actual power right there.
Yeah. So going in on day one probably is your best bet to just do the basics. Over time, you'll refine things. But if you're going to spend 10 years first trying to, measure all of the angles to create this perfect workout plan, right? You would have been much better just going in and making mistakes in the gym for that first 10 years. Right? So don't overcomplicate all of your training.
Yeah.
Because I just worry that that's a trend that's happening. Right? Everybody's trying to build these perfect routines. And in doing so, they miss the whole point.
Yeah.
They completely missed the wagon on that one.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, dude. Like, yeah, go ahead, Brady.
What Nick said in the podcast that we had with him is bodybuilding isn't a smart people science, and people want to make it a smart people science. But it's not. For the most part, it's as meathead as things get picked up and put back down. And if you can follow that with any general sense of moving a barbell in any direction, right, you'll probably grow. Pick a direction, find a way to move a barbell in that direction, and then find a way to progressively overload it. You'll probably grow something.
Yeah. So the knowledge will really only help you when you run into situations where that knowledge is applicative.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who like you can pick something up and move it from A to B, right? But could it be better? Could you improve the way that you move from A to B to not just, reduce your risk of injury, but also put more weight on the bar? Probably. That's an instance where that knowledge is very helpful, because if you're just some just some Chad, and you go in there and you move something from A to B and your low back hurts and you're like, what the fuck? I'm going to just keep putting more on. Then you're probably just going to keep messing your back up.
Yeah.
But if you understand like maybe the reasons why your low back hurts, then you can now you've just opened up more doors, and you've increased the runway for progression. Instead of just saying, oh, well, that's just a bad movement for me because the weight was too high and it hurt my back. Like, no, it wasn't the load. It was the way you move that load, So like those are instances where it can help you. But you never want to be that dude that's just debilitated himself. Like I've been there and I've done that, and you won't get very much out of it except for being really proficient at moving things that are light. That are light. Yeah, there will come a time where you need to forget that and just remember that, like, hey, you're just moving things from point A to point B.
Yep. Try and do it the same way over and over again.
Yeah.
Then add load.
Yeah, with more load.
Yeah, it can be simplified super far, down to monkey science, or it can be magnified and taken all the way to, I don't even know, rocket science, I suppose, nuclear science, bioscience, sure, any of them. It can be taken that far if you really want it to. But as you just said earlier, the knowledge is only useful if you're in a situation where it's applicable.
Yeah.
So the knowledge and the science is something that should help you steer the car, but it should not be the engine that drives it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's just like putting like a fancy body on it,
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, that looks good. but then it's like meow instead of like a it's like
you just
meow. Yeah, dude.
That's hilarious.
Like the other thing I would say that it will help you in is probably like programming and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you said, you said like a caveman can literally just go do 100 sets with as much weight as you possibly can, and that would ruin you, and you'd feel like you did something, but it doesn't mean that was very intelligent. So
right.
Big difference.
And so now it's time to kind of break it down a little bit. If you're trying to be a coach, you should know these things, right? You should break deeper into the science because you're the one steering the car now, right? You want to have the tools and know when and how to apply them. If you aren't the coach and you're just the bodybuilder, it's probably not necessary that you have all the tools before you start, right? And that's the key there is the words before you start. Get started, and then when something arises that's not quite right, or you think you can get more out of yourself, dig deeper, see what level there is to sit on and learn, and then use that to make an adjustment, right? Learn, get the experience as you're moving along so that you see where it applies.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to gain all of these tools and not actually understanding the application because you've never walked into a gym before. So don't.
Yeah.
Just get in a fucking lift. How about that?
And this
get in.
The same can be said for life too, like
anything.
Yeah, literally
Make
anything.
Mistakes.
Sometimes you got to make mistakes. Sometimes you're not going to be 100% prepared, usually at any moment in time. And it's usually not the right time. So you know what? Well, there's no fucking difference between today and tomorrow because the timing is going to be off just as much as it was. So just fucking take the step. And if you fall and you mess up, you'll get back up and you'll figure out what to do with this thing in front of you now. And that's how I've also realized it, is that once you get over one hill, there's always another one.
There's always another one, man.
Yeah,
There's
always.
always something else coming.
Yeah, dude. How many times have you been like, I've got 4 or 5 things on my major to-do list, and you're like, oh, once I get done with these things, I'll have so much free time. I can do
I
this,
know.
that, the other. And then you do those things and you're like, holy fuck, I've got 3 more things on this list now. Completely different and of different, and they're just of different difficulties as well. Like
Yep.
just new problems, you know?
Yep.
Like shit's never gonna be perfect, guys.
There's never an optimum time to start something.
No.
Right. Life is always hitting you, always throwing punches.
Yeah.
You just
Roll with
you
them.
just got to find a way to fit it in with what you're doing now, and it'll become routine, and then everything else just works around it. You know? And I've now recognized that myself. And so when people tell me that they're waiting to start something, I always just try and explain that waiting to start something, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because of exactly what you said. It's as soon as the optimum time is supposed to show up, something else takes its place.
Yeah.
Something will always take up your space of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just find a way to fit it in, because as humans, we're really good at managing ourselves. And if we want to fit something in, we will.
Yeah.
So if it's something you want to do, but you're just like, I just don't know if I have the time, just commit to it. Like,
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. You just got to commit.
There was this book that I'm reading right now, and it's called Never Split the Difference. And it's basically just like kind of walking you through like this interrogator. He's like a professional, not interrogator.
Debater.
Yeah, we'll call him a debater.
Sure.
Yeah, like he deals with like high risk situations where like people have been kidnapped, and he's trying to like talk these people that kidnapped them like down and shit like that. Basically, so in this one chapter, they talk about never splitting the difference. So it's like let's say you're going out tonight and you've got your suit on, and the wifers or the hubs.
Negotiator.
Yeah, thank you. Fucking fuck. Jesus, we're not word people. Okay.
I was like, I'm not going to be able to listen to this story until I
have
it.
that word. Yeah. So he's a negotiator, and basically, this chapter talks about never splitting the difference. So you're about to go out, and you're about to you have your suit on, and you want to wear the black shoes, right? But then let's say, and then your girlfriend says no, or your wife says no, I want you to wear the brown shoes, right? So meeting in the middle, splitting the difference, right? Technically, if you were to compromise, you would walk out of the house with a brown shoe and a black shoe. Okay. So that's both people being happy, but it doesn't fucking make any sense. Okay. And it's not ideal. It's not what you're going to do. You're not going to do that. And then I thought, in what areas do we compromise in certain situations where we just kind of half-ass things? We don't full-ass things. We kind of like flirt with the idea. We don't really take that step, or we say we're waiting for the right time. We want that nice compromise. And it's like, when you do that, as soon as you do that, you're putting on 2 shoes and you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything of use or of utility. You need to either make the decision to either do it or not do it. So I took, those were I was kind of reaching there in like kind of applying that laterally, but it's, to me, it's kind of clear as day though. Yeah. It's like, are you going to put the black shoes on? Are you going to do it? Or are you going to put the brown shoes on and not do it? Because you know what? If you try to do both, you're going to stumble the entire time.
You're going to do neither.
You're going to look ridiculous. Yeah. And I was thinking about that for myself, because there are a lot of situations where I do that, or I have done that to myself, where I've put on both shoes. I've kind of half-assed things, you
How
know.
does that apply to you right now?
Right now, I'm just full on wearing my black shoes right now, Brady. I'm eating my meals. I'm not half-assing things. I'm going to bed. I mean, granted, it is 11:43 right now, but I'm going to bed on time. I'm doing the things I need to do. I'm not like flirting with the idea of like, oh, like, yeah, I kind of hit my meals today. It's like, no, it's like you're gonna do it or you're not. And right now, I'm fucking doing it.
I respect that.
Yeah, man.
I respect that.
And
I love
Brady's
that
been
attitude.
done doing it. Brady is a total black shoe wearer. He puts those booties on and he struts around town.
You know, I will say, as someone who is that whole mindset of do something 110% or don't do it at all, it does have its faults. There
Yeah.
are places where it doesn't quite apply all the
Mhm.
time. And really the faults aren't that it doesn't work. It's more along the lines of there's consequences to it, especially as you try to put on more shoes over your shoes.
So what are you talking about literally, Brady? What circumstance are you thinking about right now?
So, um, one of them being you only have so much time, right? And even with giving something 100%, you can only give 100% to so many things before it starts to blow back in your face, right? Um, and that's where I've run into issues. I will take on tasks or ideas, and I give them 100%, and I'm giving everything else 100%. But eventually, there's something that stops getting 100%, and when that happens, it gets 0%. But it was important, and so you just have to be cautious sometimes if you're someone who likes to give 100% to a lot of things, that you will run out of capability,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
There does come a point where you can't give any more of yourself. And then it becomes the difficult task of, okay, what deserves my attention and what doesn't anymore? Right? Because at some point I wanted to do this, which is why I gave it 100%. But now I have this other thing that I want to do. Do I drop this and leave it completely gone? Right? Or do I not pick up this new idea? And that's where I have issues,
Yeah.
right? Because I know I run at Redline all the time, right? And if I try to take on something else, I'll explode. Which which means I have to then choose something to get rid of.
Mhm.
And that can be hard. That can be hard, you know. It is great to give 100%. It's very, very easy way and quick way to find out if what you're doing is worth a damn. You make progress quickly. You give your attention. You give an honest effort to what you're doing, and that will provide you results quickly. Um, so the benefits to this kind of mindset is that you quickly get feedback, right? You don't end up what you could have done in a year, you did in 3 months.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. You know, it's cool to have that kind of return, but it also gets you hungry to take on more things because
Yeah.
you start to see what you're capable of,
Mhm.
and you recognize you can do more. And when that happens, you get hungry. You're like, I want to do more. I got to do more. But you got a full plate, you know?
Mhm.
But I still, with the issues that they're honestly, they're good issues to have, right? I want to do too many things. I guess is not a bad thing to, have happen. Um, but it's just, it's the side effect of going 110% all the time.
Yeah.
Is that eventually something that was important to you has to get put away.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when that happens, it gets put away for good. Because if you were willing to throw it away once, generally means it was less important.
Yeah.
And so your 100%, its worthiness to you to give 100% is gone. So it's not worth picking back up.
Yeah. I forgot who it was. We'll just say it was like Warren Buffett or some shit. He
Sure.
was on his plane and he's got this pilot that flies him around everywhere, this, that, the other. And the pilot asks Warren, like, you're so successful. Like, how are you so successful? And then Warren goes, okay, I want you to write down on a list 25 things that you would like to accomplish, like by the end of your life. And then the guy comes to him with his list of 25. And then he goes, all right, now I want you to cross off literally every single one outside of the top three and just focus on those top three things. Like that's kind of like what you reminded me of a few things. That was one story. The next one is going to be juggling, because you can really only juggle so many things. Like Brady is really good at maybe juggling like 3 or 4 different things.
Yeah, that's about my limit there.
Yeah. And then as soon as you add like a fifth or sixth or even seventh ball in there, you probably have, like you just said, things kind of fall apart a little bit and you have to decide which ball you're going to throw away.
Yep.
Right. And then the other thing is the amount of energy that you have. And if you could view yourself as like a ball of light and the things that you want to do are kind of in front of you, like little nodes, and like you're shooting a beam of light out to like those nodes. And the beam can be like super strong and bright, or it can be kind of like weak and fizzled out, or anywhere in between there and then. And you only have so much energy. So like if you're attaching yourself to all these different nodes, or if you have all these different balls that you're juggling, you're gonna run out of energy like at home base pretty much. And you're gonna have to decide which, where you kind of pull that energy back from and focus that beam on something like that's actually like really important and really in front of you. It's like those are like the 2 things that, or the 3 things that you just kind of like sparked in my head.
Yeah.
That was me just talking.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's a good and bad mindset to have. And I think every mindset has its own pros and cons, of course. I attach to the 100% approach, because I like to learn the fastest I can, essentially. I know that I've only got so much time to do things. And I want to get through as many things as I can, basically. And so I would rather give 100% and find out in 2 months that I don't want to do that than give 50% and find out in 6 months that I don't want to do that. Because really, I'm just ending up giving the same amount of attention to it. Or I guess, to me, if I'm not giving something 100%, the time allotted in my day is actually the same. So if, let's say I'm giving something 60% and I'm giving something 100%, I'm going to give them both the same amount of time in my day, but my actual focus and effort is where the difference lies, right? So let's say they each get 2 hours, but in the 2 hours at 100%, I'm going to get way more done than in the 2 hours at 60%. And so at 100%, I figure out I don't want to do it in 2 months. At the 60%, I find out in 6 months I don't want to do it. I used the same amount of time each day, but I wasted 4 extra months.
Yeah.
Basically, I got told when I was pretty young, fail quickly, fail often, move forward. And I just kind of took to it. I wanted to try as many things out. I wanted to move forward often. And I wanted to either fail at it so that I could move forward or learn from it and keep going.
And move
right?
forward.
And move forward, right? Yeah, the goal is to always be moving forward. And I've found the quicker you can fail, the quicker you're going to make adjustments, the quicker you're going to learn whatever you need to learn, whether that is it's not for you or that you find enjoyment and you want to take the next step. But if you put the effort into it at 100%, either way, you're going to fail, right? You're going to fail at the same point because you don't have the knowledge or the skill, one of any things. You will fail. You have to try and get to that fail point as quickly as possible because that's where you learn. And that's how you move forward.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, actually.
It has nothing to do about saving your energy, right? Just learn as quickly as you can, fail as often as you can, put them together, and move on.
Yep.
And you'll find out what you're supposed to do. I've tried a lot of things. And I found a lot of things I don't like doing, to be honest. But that wouldn't have happened if I lazily worked my way through it, right? Or at least it wouldn't have happened this quickly if I had just lazily made my way to each failure point.
100% agree.
Yeah. So really, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to fail as quickly as possible. And then whatever that failure tells me, I make the adjustment from there.
We are professional failures.
That's life, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
life.
That's deep. We are failures.
Well, we are what we do after failure.
Yeah. It's being able to kind of step away from that's what separates, the people that there are people that learn and then there are people that lose.
True that. I like that one. That's good.
Yeah. This is good talk, bro.
How do we even get there?
It's deep.
How did we get here?
What was the question? It had to do with shoulders.
We were talking about shoulder pressing.
Dude. Yo. Yeah, actually, that's hilarious.
Oh God.
Yeah,
guys. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. This is just my personal approach. It's worked very well for me, so I stick with it, and I like it. It's the most exciting for me as well. I love, full open throttle, giving everything I got until the wheels fall off. And then, if I have to move on, I move on. It's fun for me. I like learning. Continuing to seek knowledge and education is something that I've always loved, which is, I hated school, but I love learning.
Yeah, dude. Preach.
And that was just because school never felt like learning. It felt like memorizing.
That's what it was. unfortunately.
And that's just how the school system is, right?
Yeah.
But I love skills, man. You know, it's so cool to have a different array of skills. It allows you to empathize with lots of different people from different walks of life. It allows you to relate, I guess, is maybe a better way to put it, right? When you've learned something that someone else has learned, there's a connection, a trust there, because you've been through something similar to get you to whatever point you are that you have that skill. And so it's just always been a goal of mine to collect as many skills as I can and be as well-rounded of a person as possible, but while still using the radical approach of going all in on something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I go all in, collect the skill, decide if the skill is something I want to pursue further. If it's not, that's not a loss. I gain skill, knowledge, experience, and none of that is ever a loss, right? So I don't know. It's just always been a thing of mine to collect as many skills as possible and take on as many experiences as I can. And I found the best way to do that is just to give everything 110% until it fizzles out.
I like that, dude. I'm gonna adopt some of that for sure.
The red line approach.
I like that, yeah. That ass. And especially like trying to fail quick. I like
Yeah.
that. You know.
Yeah. Gotta fail quickly, man.
Oh my God. It's because I will tell you right now, not failing or failing slowly. Fucking
Brutal.
kills.
Yes, it's brutal, man.
Kills, dude.
Just like run into walls, climb over them, and run into the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to dig your way through a wall with a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
Just crash through it, bandage yourself, go to the next one.
Yeah.
You know.
Watch we just have like everyone just like running into walls.
Everybody's trying to literally
run into a
run
wall.
through their wall.
Dislocated shoulders.
Yeah, but that's that's how you collect all the skills. That's why you tell me how I automate everything, right? That's because I've failed enough times to figure out how to make it so that it does it for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've gone through the grueling process of the slow way around.
Mm-hmm.
That I now have figured out the shortcuts.
Yeah.
But it was only because I did it the long way for a while. But I did the long way as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about bodybuilding, right, is I can only go so fast. I think that's one of the things that intrigues me so much about the sport is I can't
throttle it.
automate it. Right.
True.
I can't. There's nothing I can do to automate bodybuilding and make it work for me, right? I have to eat my meals. I have to go to the gym and train harder than I did the week before. It's a challenge that I almost can't see. I don't want to say my fail points, but places where I can optimize things.
You said it's harder?
Not harder. It's very simple, actually. But it's because it's so simple and down a lot of skills that I've learned kind of revolve around technology, and technology is very, very good at automating itself.
Yeah.
The thing about bodybuilding is there's nothing I can do to make the work be done for me.
Yeah.
There's not a single step of it.
If only we could upload cows.
Right. I can't, like, the closest thing to that, the closest thing is blending your meals.
Yeah. Just smashing them. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the closest thing. So bodybuilding is really intriguing to me that way. Because it's one of those things that I almost feel like I can't fail quickly.
Mm.
Everything else, when I start it, I can see why it's going to be slow, and that after doing it for a while, I will have the process and be able to refine the process to make it faster.
Yeah.
For instance, video editing, right? It was brutally slow when I first started. I had to learn the program. I had to think of how the edits were going to work in my head before I could just plaster it into the program, right? I had to think of the shots before I did them, and then do all of the editing, right? All of the changing of how long a recording is, and adding in music and zooming and transitions and all of these things. And now I've done it enough times and looked for solutions to the problems that I was having, that now the relative format of how a video runs almost seamlessly in my head while I'm filming it. I can think through the entire video before I've actually started the recording. So just having that general layout and visualization of what you're doing before you start it is really key. And then within the program itself, I know all of the shortcuts to slicing up videos and shortening and adding in effects. I know the shortcuts. And so now it's quick, right?
Yeah.
It's quick. But it's because it was slow first. But when I started it, I knew why it would be slow. And it was because I had to learn all of those fine processes. With bodybuilding, it's just slow because it's the human body.
Yeah, this is a slow sport.
Right. There's nothing I can do to refine the process.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, there was one thing, and I did it. I got a coach.
True.
That was the closest thing to refining and automating the process I could do.
I do agree with that.
And so now, all it is rinse and repeating and following this cycle until some failure shows up at my front door. And as we talked about at the beginning of this episode, my most recent failure, right? Or maybe not even failure, but struggle points are even part of it, right? My knees, right? My knees were starting to break down. And if I didn't take care of it, it was going to ruin the rest of this sport for me.
Yeah.
And it could do it very quickly. So there was a failure point. I had to find a solution, right? I love putting myself in positions where I have to find a solution. It adds to the 100% mentality, right? It's this
I agree.
intensity, right? It's this intensity and passion of what you do, where I have to pressure. That's the better word. It's pressure. And it's a lot of pressure because you want to keep giving 100%, but this thing is in your way. So you have to find a solution to it. And that's everything. It's finding solutions to what puts pressure on you so that you can continue to give 100%.
Yeah.
And that's how I love living that way. It's fun. It's exciting.
And I think it's a good way to live too. Like we said, you can take what you can from us, take what you can from Brady, take what you can from myself and any other person that you kind of, come encounter with, or that might be like of mentoring status or something of the sorts, and put a little spin on it, make it your own. Personally, I'm definitely going to try to fail a lot faster.
Make mistakes, man.
Yeah.
Make mistakes.
Like, I'm not really one to even be afraid of making mistakes. I don't mind that. But it's just the pace at which I do that I think needs to be changed for myself personally. But yeah, I think good stuff.
I think it's one of those things for you. I almost think you just need to bet on yourself more often.
Right? I need to act a lot more too. That's what I really need to do.
Right.
Just face value.
When of anybody in the world, I will always bet on myself first. Yeah. Right. Because I know what I'm capable of. Like I'm in control of myself. Right. And so you have to be able to bet on yourself. Otherwise, you're always going to live with this drawback of, well, what if I fail? But betting on yourself is knowing that even if you fail, you will succeed. Right? Bet on yourself to come out the other side 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
When you start doing that, then you'll start failing faster. Go into something already assuming that you will come out the other side. And you'll be fine.
I fucking dig that.
Yeah.
Who told you this, Brady, when you were like 5 years old? Who the heck put this in your head?
I don't know. I've just kind of gathered pieces and I put them all together from different people. And again, I've just meshed it to work for myself. And I've got the general knack in my head I'm an intense person. I'm a very laid back, intense person.
Yeah.
I actually tried to make an Instagram post about this today.
About being laid back but intense.
I was trying to find a way to explain directing your intensity. Right? I'm a very laid back, casual, easy conversation guy. But as soon as there's something in front of me to be the best at or to complete, that's where that 100% focus, ultimate intensity, balls to the wall mindset comes out. Yeah. And it's just, it's learning to direct that because, well, for one, it's exhausting. It's very tiring to be intense.
It can be. Yeah, that is for sure.
Because it's a lot. It's what we talked about earlier in this topic of you can only juggle so many things. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to be intense all of the time, you're almost kind of shortchanging yourself there because you could be allowing or giving that intensity to other things, right? I don't need to be intense in this podcast to get my my thoughts across, right? I can relax here and save that intensity for something else. So it's directing intensity, I think, is very important. In the form of exercise, it's what we call flipping the switch. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're directing your intensity. And so as you get better at it, you learn just how and when to direct that 100%.
You get much better at directing.
You do. But again, don't let the thought of, oh, I don't know when to give 100% stop you from trying to give 100%. Right. Yeah. And that's that fail first kind of thing. Where just start doing it and you'll learn the technique. You know, you'll learn where the appropriate time is to try your hardest.
It's funny that you mentioned this because I literally had a very short conversation with Kelsey because we were talking about me starting, like when I first started my personal training business, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. From a business standpoint, I knew I had like the know-how. It was just the business stuff. Like I had to go to freaking like Newburgh and get some papers and go to the bank and open an account and then get a stamp and then go back into, Poughkeepsie and then get this thing signed and, this, that, the other. It's like, what the, and taxes and I didn't know jack. And Kelsey was like, you should have maybe you should have like thought about stuff like a little bit longer and like waited and I'm thinking like if I had done that, I wouldn't be here right now. And I needed to just take those. I just needed to go. I needed to take the first step. I didn't even know what the hell it was, but I just needed to take a step in the right direction so that I could get to the next thing, so that I could get to the next thing, so that I could get to the next thing. And here we are now. And that is like a prime example of not waiting for a perfect opportunity, waiting for all of your ducks in line to do something big. Because it doesn't start big. You don't build a house from the top down. You have to start somewhere. You always start from the ground and you build that foundation. You build the know-how, the skills. You figure out what you do and don't like along the way. You try and make some connections with people that can help you do the things that you don't like, or help you do the things that you don't like. And, that can kind of free up some energy. But yeah, it's like you got to take that first step. There's never going to be a perfect moment. And like now is the perfect time right now, because tomorrow won't be, in 2 years it won't be, but right now is the perfect time. If there was ever a perfect time, it's right fucking now.
Yep. Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself. That's all you can do. Yep. You'll make it out the other side. As long as you commit to yourself that you'll make it out the other side.
Yeah.
You do have to believe, that no matter what arises, you're going to see it through.
Yeah.
I think that's another place people fail short.
You will be tested 100%. There were a few times in like this process, and I know that I'm going to go through even more, where I was like, is this for me? Should I be doing this right now? Like, fuck,
Yep.
And you know what? You wake up the next morning and you're okay.
Back at it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's all part of it, man. Fail quick, fail often. Learn. All right. We'll go back to bodybuilding. Let's try and answer some quick ones. I think we've been on for like hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's starting to get late. We both need to sleep. Best off-season foods.
Fruity Pebbles.
It's a good one, man.
That's my new cereal right now. I picked up some Fruity Pebbles and I'm gonna be pounding some cereal after this. Very similar. Like I don't fucking have any tips or tricks. That's for sure. Basically you're just gonna be eating chicken and rice and steak and rice or potatoes. You don't have to kind of do anything outside of what you've already normally done. Do what's easiest for you. Yeah.
Sorry. Just got attacked by the cat again. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually clarify a little bit of what Brandon was just saying. You should be eating what digests the best for you. That's what's going to give you the best off season you can have, is if your digestive system is moving smoothly. If you start eating things that are clogging up your digestive system, you're not going to make gains. You're just going to be bloated. You're going to feel like shit. And then when you feel like shit, you're going to train like shit. When you train like shit, you're going to be upset.
Look like shit.
You're going to look like shit. And then when you look like shit, you're going to mentally feel like shit, and when you mentally feel like shit, you're gonna sleep
You're
like
gonna
shit,
eat
so you're
more
gonna
shit.
recover like shit.
Exactly.
And so eat what digests well, and probably don't change it much from your diet food. You know, it's okay to have some off meals, but for the most part, your food should be relatively consistent. You don't want to throw your body for loops all the time. You want it to kind of be like a machine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so, you know, if your body is digesting food well, that's how you're going to get the most food in anyway, over the long course, right? Obviously, in one day, you can eat loads and loads of calories in McDonald's, but you can't do that for a year. You'll feel like death.
You actually might beat.
You might actually die. There's a whole documentary on that called Subsidize Me, I believe.
Yeah.
And he looked like shit. And he felt like
And
shit.
he felt like shit. And his biomarkers were shit.
So, yeah, eating foods that are going to digest the best for you, keep them clean, keep them single ingredient, you know, it's no different. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's what's going to work best with your body.
Yeah.
Let's keep on the off-season train. If someone can only eat 5 meals instead of 6, is that okay in the off season?
Yeah, that's such a yes. Like, yeah, if you can't hit your 6th meal, it's okay. There's no requirement for in season or out of season meal requirements. You know, that's not a thing. What you should respect is just the amount of calories and the amount of macros that you're eating within those meals. So if you can't catch a 6th meal, you can either smush that 6th meal into the 5th and have a mega uber wombo meal, or you can sprinkle it across the other 5 meals before it and squeeze those macros in there somehow, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. So basically, in the grand scheme of things, the number of meals doesn't really matter too much, right? It's not going to be make or break, especially if you're asking this question. Basically, if you're eating 6 meals becomes handy if you're eating a ton of food. And so breaking it into 6 meals is then easier because the meals are smaller portioned. That's really where having 6 meals versus 5 can be helpful.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's very little difference as long as you're eating the same amount of calories and the same amount of macros.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it just comes down to what portion size can you handle. You could eat 10 meals if you can only eat tiny portions at a time. Understand that they're going to be like an hour apart, but
Yeah.
you know, it's the amount of meals is really helpful to how much you can eat at once, especially as you get further into an off season. You know, and the bigger you get, you have to eat more. So you're not going to be able to eat in 3 meals. If you're only eating 2,000 calories a day or 2,500 calories a day, you can probably eat it in 3 meals just fine. That's like a normal day, right? But if you're eating 7,000 calories a day, good luck eating it in 3 meals. It's not going to happen. You're going to feel awful.
Yeah.
You know, so even eating that in 6 meals, that's over 1,000 calories every meal.
Uh-huh. That's a lot for you.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? That's the extreme end. Very
Yes.
very few people are eating that much food.
Very few.
But yeah, that was just the extreme end to make the point make sense.
Yeah. Like, I think Thor was eating like around that.
Yeah, some of the strongman guys, they eat a ton of food, dude.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
But they're also like 400-pound humans, so
Yeah.
it is what it is, right?
Duh. Duh.
They would actually starve on like 3,000 calories, so they drop like 100 pounds in a week.
No, you saw Thor. I think Thor is down a few.
Yeah, they're getting ready. Him and Eddie are getting ready to fight. So
Man,
dumb.
I know.
All right. Do you use any sleep aids?
I do not.
How's your dreams been going, man?
The past couple days, I actually have dreamt. Still on my dream streak.
Still going.
But I won't lie though, the past 3 have been like 2 seconds long. Felt like 2 seconds long.
Sure.
Very, very brief. Not intense whatsoever. But that's just because I visited, like, just so happens to be when I started visiting or went up to Bing this weekend is kind of when things kind of were like haywire because my sleep was off. I wasn't getting to sleep on time.
Right.
I was getting to sleep mad late. And then just like disrupted sleep. She fucking so she has this heated blanket, and I hate sleeping in the heat, dude. I hate it. And like I just realized this today, or not today, like Saturday it was, I think, that like right before we both pass out, she'll hit the button and just cook me.
Absolutely savage. That's hilarious.
Cooking me. So we talked about that. She also was like, yeah, I think I'm done with that now. And she actually took it off. I didn't force her at all. She took it off willingly on her own accord. It was not I.
Subconscious.
I was just like, you.
This is your fault.
Yeah, I wake up, my lips are chapped as all hell. I'm like, water. Like SpongeBob SquarePants and Sandy's bubble.
It's funny, man.
Yeah. So no sleep aids. No sleep aids.
I've actually had a melatonin protein before. So I had a casein protein powder that had melatonin in it. That was pretty cool.
Did you find it worked?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because see, my problem has always been like actually falling asleep. But once I'm asleep, I'm fine.
Okay.
Because I'll lay in bed and then think about all the things that I should be doing.
That you should be redlining.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It gets hard to turn it off sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes that'll happen. But yeah, that was actually pretty cool. That was made by Beyond Raw.
Okay. Yeah.
That was cool. I've also used Redcon 1 Fade Out, another melatonin based sleep supplement with some other things.
Word.
That was cool. That one, man, dude, melatonin gives some weird dreams. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's some wonky dreams come from that.
I have taken melatonin before, but I've never really noticed it work for me personally. But you did remind me, I lied back in like, oh God, this must have been like 5 years ago at this point. Back when Arnold came out with his stack, he had a sleep aid, and I remember taking that. I can literally remember the flavor of it too. Yeah. But I can remember clear as day taking this sleep aid and just being asleep like within 30 minutes of taking it. Like out cold. Yeah. That was the last like serious thing I ever took. Like serious, you know. That was Arnold's Dream. I think it was literally called Dream.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that actually.
Yeah, it was like green. It came out when he came out with his like Arnold split, which was like basically a legs push pull repeat. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I totally fanboyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's was
on the program, on the subs. Yeah, I was loving every second of it.
You were full Arnold.
Yeah. Did I gain a single pound? I think I actually did. And I won't be mean to myself. Yeah. I probably gained a little bit.
Got a massive bench.
Did I? Yeah, my massive 95-pound bench. Yeah.
That's funny. The next question was best PR on dead squat and bench.
95 pounds.
That's not true. That's not
No.
true.
Oh God, my fucking bench press is dirt.
We'll fix
I
it.
like don't even bench press actually. I just started barbell overhead pressing again
Yeah.
and low incline pressing too, actually.
Nice.
Oh.
Is your split gonna get changed back to a 2 on 1 off?
It was never 2 on 1 off. It was always 3 on 1 off. 3 on 1 off. And then I went to 2 on 2 off. So yeah, it's good. So Tuesday, tomorrow, I'll be hitting Nick up and we'll see what we can do with the split.
There you go.
You know.
He's been extra responsive lately.
Really?
Yeah.
He must be deloading.
Maybe. Maybe. Oh, yeah. I'll tell mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I didn't even do that. So like, yeah, full disclosure. My bench is shit. My deadlift is also shit. I think I may have benched like 155 like 3 years ago. Like I never loaded a bench press.
I've seen you deadlift 3 plates.
Yeah, I did, and I deadlifted 3 plates one time.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was dirty. That was just a very dirty, gross time. But yeah, I did that.
I respect it.
Yeah. I'll do it again.
Yeah, you will shortly.
Yeah. I'll be RDLing that soon.
Yes. Yeah. When you'll have that before you move here. So then we'll work on
I think so.
3.5 and 4 plates.
Yeah.
As we add 100 pounds to your frame.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm mad excited for what's to come. Just because now that I've got all my ducks in line and I'm no longer wearing 2 different shoes. Yeah.
Feels good.
It does. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. My best deadlift. Well, honestly, I don't know. I haven't one repped in a really long time, but
yeah, that's the other thing.
As I said, I did 505 for 4. I think I could probably conventional pull 520. Maybe a little bit more. My squat, I haven't back squatted in so long. I think my best back squat the last time I did a 1 rep was like 365. But it's probably more towards 4 plates, I'm sure. And then my best bench was 285. I did that for a 1 rep.
Nice.
Yeah. Sometimes I do wonder, like, how close am I to like a 3 plate bench for just one? I'm like, if I could just do it just once.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's closer than it seems. Especially now that I've inclined 245 for plenty of reps. It's probably not too far away. So, yeah. What's that as a total? 500, 500, 400, 900. And then we'll say like a 295 bench.
Just like 12 almost ish.
Yeah, 1195. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very close to this.
Wait. Oh, wait. 520 plus 405. So that's
you're gonna be just above 12 then.
Yeah, I'm a little above 1200. That's not bad.
No. Fuck.
Ben.
Yeah, I think
if I could bench, I could be a power lifter.
You could. Yeah, you're fucking strong, dude.
If I just shredded down to the lowest weight class I could and if I could hold on to my strength.
Yeah, that'd be actually
There we
kind of
go.
dope. Yeah, seriously. It'd be kind of lethal, I think.
Be all right. I think the weight class I would be in is like stupid competitive though.
Yeah, like there are some freaks of fucking nature.
There
Even
are
in, like
some
the
serious
145s, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. Yeah.
Rip.
That's why we bodybuild.
Right. Yeah. I'm just hoping one day to uncover a massive physique. So
It's in there, dude.
I hope so. We'll find out. I can't find any shortcuts. So
Just gotta give it time.
I just gotta trust the process now.
Yeah.
All right. Last one, then we'll wrap it up. What's your go-to post-workout? We'll do
Cream of wheat or
clean and dirty.
Clean and dirty. All I have to offer is cream of wheat and potentially Fruity Pebbles.
All right. My clean one is actually my post-workout right now. Fruity Pebbles with chocolate whey protein milk. And my dirty is 2 McChickens, a triple cheeseburger, and a medium fry.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna change my dirty to a 10-piece nugget with a large fry and a large Sprite.
Oh, went with the drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Decent. We got to get more McChickens in there, though.
Yeah, or McNuggets, now that I think about it. 20-piece McNugget.
There you go. See, this is what's going to happen. You're going to move here. So nobody that listens to this knows this. On the drive back home from the gym, McDonald's is on the side of the road on our way back home.
Yeah.
So it's such an easy stop on the way home from the gym.
Yeah, it's pretty lethal right there. That's good
So,
positioning.
Yeah, we're going to get Brandon another 100 pounds on his frame through McChickens, triple cheeseburgers.
245.11 per 10.
Oh my god!
I'm coming for you, Nick.
That's right. That's right. You give him a couple months.
Give me a couple months, I'll be right there. Looks like that guy from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Get in my belly.
Yeah. Fat bastard. But yeah, man. To everybody who's listening, you know what? What's your fast food order? Because that's mine. Every single time. If I go to McDonald's, 2 McChickens, triple cheeseburger, medium fry.
Yeah.
Every time.
And mine is always 10-piece nugget, large fry, large Sprite.
Yeah. I think everyone has a fast food order.
Yeah.
So I want to know what it is. Maybe there's some better orders in there. I want to try them out. Right? I want to see. I want to be like, oh, this is a good one.
It's gonna take me a lot.
Be like 20 McChickens and be like, fuck off. But yeah, man. Well, we should wrap this up. It's been almost 2 hours.
I do agree.
Yeah. I've had to pee this entire time.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's been tough.
That is impressive.
All right, guys. It was fun chatting. We'll catch you next week. Keep your eye on the YouTube channel. I know I've got a leg day video coming. I'm gonna tell you that Brandon's full day of eating video is coming out in the next week.
Thank you.
So keep your eye on the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, so you don't miss those. And Thursday we still have our snack 'em. So ton of videos coming out, and we're here for it. So we hope you are too. All right, everybody. Deuces.
Deuces, bruces.